everybody, and welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Charlie K. Matthews, and I'm excited to be here. And I am loving summer. It is filled with events and fun and, sunshine. It's been a little too hot in Alabama, so I enjoy the travel around. But speaking of hot and temperature hot, Kelly, tell us a little bit about yourself. Jump on the mic and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Charlie. This is Kelly Franko. I am the founder and president of Seraphina Safety Apparel, and we make flame-resistant apparel for women in industry. It escaped my mind that you're actually in Alabama, and I was in Memphis in Alabama last week. So I was like, I
Oh,
probably
don't
should have
tell me
said,
that,
hey, where are
Kelly. I'm
you at in the
sad.
world? But you probably weren't there when I was there. But yes, that's Seraphina's been around since we originally got everything started from an R&D standpoint the beginning of 2019, but my background up until that point was healthcare, and then I got asked the question about, can you make flame resistant bras? Because my background in healthcare, I had done a lot with post mastectomy, doing bra fittings and surgical garments for women that were post surgical from post mastectomy surgery. And then that took a big turn, and that's how I landed myself in industry. And I've been loving every minute of it.
So this really did blow my mind, y'all. Something I had never thought about ever. Now, my women out there know that there's a little metal thing in your, where you fasten. Well, I guess everybody you could know this, but it kind of sticks into your back sometimes. It's uncomfortable. You feel it, and it depends on your garment. But to
Mhm.
think of those little metal things heating you up and burning you while you're on the job, I had never thought of. I had never thought. I think about my own little discomfort every now and then, but then to think I've got to work while this is burning me every day.
Mhm.
I could not even understand. And so Kelly, when you told me about and I got to see it too, the materials that are just saving people. I mean, it just absolutely has to be rewarding to know that you've created this that are keeping people from literally burning themselves.
And there's so much, like, when that question was posed to me, again, not having any idea of what the hazards were in the industrial space. um it was kind of the same thing. At first I kind of thought, like, well, why isn't there something already? And we did some looking into that as well. And again, just from a design perspective, we knew we needed to do something that because the underwire in bras is part of the problem too, and then just the fact that it's all meltable fabric. So whether it's high heat or an arc flash, a flash fire, any of those hazards pose the risk of just the fabric alone melting. And at one of the recent trade shows, a gentleman shared with me an incident that he had been made aware of, where it's going to be a slight possibility that this would happen, but it did happen. And a lady's underwire in the hazard, the underwire melted through her breast tissue, and she had happened to be an augmented individual, and it burned through the implants so that that silicone oozed out over her torso and also scalded her. So, I mean, she had severe burns. And again, the odds of something like that happening, but it did. And so when you look at just the wire alone melting through very delicate breast tissue, would be very painful. And then we look at some of the testing that's been done with everyday bras, and even under layers of other clothing, protective layers of clothing. The one test in particular, the arc flash blew right through and melted the bra to the mannequin. So again, never entered my mind prior to being asked about, can you make something? And I've learned a lot over the past several years now. So
Yeah. So coming from the healthcare industry and being surrounded by women and then going into industrial spaces, which is a very male populated industry, and having to kind of switch and have that conversation for one is a challenge. And then the women though that you get to meet, amazing women in industry doing so much work,
absolutely.
and you're on a mission, not just to give people the PPE that they need, but kind of also advocate for this across the board, and may not just be clothing. So I know you've created and really networked with a lot of people in industry. We got to meet through the Empowering Women in Industry fashion show, which I loved when you were a part of that and showcasing, um, your products. But tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah, so you're right. There are so many wonderful women in this space, and there's also a lot of wonderful guys trying to support the women in this space. Because at the end of the day, we're all sisters, wives, mothers, daughters. We're related. Some, we're meaningful individuals to people, and everyone deserves to have the protection that fits and is appropriate for the work that they're doing. And so, one of the things that through my time in developing a product and getting out and networking, I've had the opportunity to meet with some other great manufacturers that are also creating specific for women products. And we had a conversation about a year ago, and I said, one of the things that when I was in the healthcare field, I belonged to this group, and it was an organization that brought together the manufacturers with the buyers. And we did conferences and everything else. And those manufacturers that lined up on the manufacturer side competed every day of the week. But in this organization, it wasn't about competition. It was about what we referred to as co-opetition, because we really were all coming together. So the manufacturers met with the buyers so that the patient was surrounded in the middle by what they needed. And that kind of image in my mind, I shared with Dave from Utility Pro, actually, Dave Rosenbluth. And I just said, wouldn't it be great if we could put together an organization like this? And lo and behold, not even a year later, or approaching a year, actually, it was in June, we've done that. We've got founding members that have come together and lined up and said, yep, we're in. And the purpose behind that, as you mentioned, Charli, is to advocate for women in the workforce through a means of improving awareness to the products that's out there, improving access to these products, and advocating to make sure women can have what they need. And so we're getting ready to do our official launch in August for the Alliance of Women's Safety Apparel Manufacturers, which I don't know if it's ironic, but it wasn't planned. It just kind of came out that way, that it's awesome. So we're like the acronym kind of spells out awesome. So we thought that was very appropriate to go with. And so there's a nice lineup of manufacturers coming to the table to do all of those things, to advocate, increase awareness, and increase accessibility to the products for women, and to help companies know that these products are out there. Because, what I found is that there's been a decade plus of conversation about the need and showing there's a need for it. So it's like, how do we change that narrative then and say, what's our next step? What are we going to do from here? Everybody knows there's a need. And now, how do you take these specialty manufacturers that are making these products that are very well fit for women and specifically designed a lot of times by women for women? How do we get those products in front of the end user and the company that's purchasing those products for the end user?
Yeah, and so y'all are raising awareness, advocating for this for women in industry, but also the products and the brands, the creators of these manufacturers, bringing them all together and doing different campaigns. One of the latest campaigns, "My Body, My PPE," y'all
Mm-hmm.
saw that through Juno Jones, Emily Soloby, the ILRA, Amy Russa was part of that,
Mm-hmm.
and the safety rack. Did I say that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so Amy has been doing a lot as far as advocacy on the safety side as well, and trying out all of these different products. So really, this community has come together to support each other, which I've loved. I loved being a part of it. We've been on here and talked about it before. I met Emily Soloby through her sponsoring the Tradeswoman of the Year and giving out that award on our very first Empowering Women. And she came there and she was like, asked me about my boots pin that she was wearing. And I just thought she was so fashionable and cool, and I love the industry of fashion. But she said yes when I asked her to do. I was like, "We need to do a fashion show." I was like,
Mhm.
she just said yes,
Yep.
and I just so thankful to her for that. And I know she's part of this group,
Yep.
along with Dovetail, which is another supporter of our event. And honestly, I love their pants. I wear them all the time. They're awesome. But there's so many other brands I know that have been joining you. The more that this shares, the
Yes.
more people are wanting to join. And so I love seeing that. The Xena blazer is one of my favorites. And so seeing all of those people come together and support this mission, and which means they're supporting women in industry and creating that change that needs to happen. Because we can talk about it all we want, but if we don't
Right.
actually get the product in their hands and they're able to purchase it, there's so many systems in place that are making that difficult.
Right.
Being just the distribution channels itself, they're kind of set in their ways a little bit and buying from the same people and not knowing that these things are out there. So, um,
Right.
can you talk
Right.
a little bit to that and kind of the challenges there, and what we can do maybe to help?
I think one of the biggest challenges a lot of us faced individually with the large distribution channels is their platform that they're familiar with is you're supplying such a large volume that they're used to buying in these tens of thousands or 10,000 pieces at a time. And when you use that number to scale for the need for women, for them to go through 10,000 of something, blows their mind because they're like, there's not that many women. But in one organization, there may not be that many women. But when you collectively bring that number together, there's a lot of women. So what can we do to say, how do we fit into that channel? And it means that we're going to have to think of it differently. We're going to have to look outside the box and say, all right, how do we set this up so that you can buy what you need, not these large volumes? And I've seen more recently where some of these larger manufacturers are doing more what they're referring to as direct purchase. So as opposed to maybe buying in volume to have in their own warehouses to have on hand to send out for their orders, they're becoming more um, they're more open to a direct ship model is really what it is. So if somebody needs something, they have a company that has three women and they want three pairs of boots or three shirts or whatever it is, they're able to direct ship that rather than purchase it and then house it and wait for that order to come in. And I know that many of us in the organization, that's been the message we've been saying. We are that specialty manufacturer, but we're removing as many barriers as possible by maybe not having those minimum quantities that they're used to having to meet. And trying to come in alignment with other things that they're used to having. Maybe it's a rebate program or some kind of shipping program that's available to them, so that our message really has just been, just let us know what you need to be able to work with us. So let's both come to the table and say, here's what we can do, here's what we can do. So again, put the employee, the female employee, in the worker in the middle, and surround them with what they need, and be proactive to take care of solving their problem, than saying nope, that's not available, because that's not the truth anymore. It is available. We just need to find the best path forward, so that we can take care of be there and take care of the greater good.
Well, I
So.
think that speaking up and being an advocate allows other people to speak up and say, "I need that. That would be awesome to
Mhm.
have. Can can we, what do we need to do in order to receive the PPE that we need, that we know
Mhm.
is available?" And so I think that there's part of like teaching the industry, but also teaching the individual that they do have special, like, what there is a special need for our bodies. It just there
Mhm.
is, and especially
Right.
uh, the the flame resistant and flame retard type clothing. I'm just blown away at this, and I know that there are women working in these areas, right? And continually, we are trying to bring women into STEM fields, manufacturing, industry as a whole. Um, and they're not getting what they need to be successful because we can't perform at our top level when things are off, especially our clothing and the way
Right.
we show up. I mean, that is, it's in, I can say for myself as a woman, like if I don't have my like blazer on, I'm not like feeling the power that I can go up there and speak. Like I could wear
Right.
other stuff,
Right.
but like it just is a better feeling. Like it's what I want to be in, and so
Right.
there's pieces of that. So I love kind of the stylish side of things. We do want that, depending on what industry you're in and what requirements there are. There are ways to shift and change what we show up in, where we can feel
Mhm.
like our best selves. And so it's so important. If I haven't said that enough on here, y'all, it is so important. And so the voice of these manufacturers, Kelly, thank you for your idea and bringing everyone together for one to see what could be done, and that willingness to be the advocate, for all the women who do face these challenges, and we know it because we've talked to them, right, Kelly?
Right. Right. Yep, absolutely. And one of the things that came to mind as you were just were sharing that information, as we do these road shows through the summer, one of the things just last week, the girls that were in the group chatting with me, they said one of the things they feel bad because they have to keep asking for to try something different because they got one product in and it didn't quite fit them right, and so they're hesitant to say it doesn't fit because they feel the company went through the hurdle to get them a women's product, but it still didn't fit. And I'm like, well, we really need to make sure that we're empowering women to speak out and let people know it's okay that the first one didn't fit, because just like if you go, I know myself, pants are hard for me to fit. So I can go try on 10 different pair and maybe one will fit. And to try to find 10 pair to have to try on could be a challenge. So I just was encouraging, on our trip last week, just, don't give up. There's always other products. You just gotta keep trying to find what's working for you. And then looking into the specialty manufacturers that have these products. Like you mentioned Dovetail and their pants, they've got a lot of different versions. They got a lot of different styles. Between Xena and Emily with Juno Jones, there's so many different styles of footwear that there's options for everyone. But again, it's getting people to know that they can ask for those brands and that those brands can sell into those channels, even if it isn't through the big distribution.
Absolutely. And you made me think, I can't leave without giving Mel a shout out over at Ember. She also in the, so many different, um, you know, the fabrics and all that is needed, right,
Mm-hmm.
for industry. And I think that design and it's almost like an engineering mind, the designing this.
Right.
And so that coupled with the ability to tell a story and to be willing to step out and do these campaigns like the M&M's campaign where she was in New York
Oh,
on
right. That was so
um
great.
yeah,
That
and so
was
I've
so great.
seen how other companies pick up from that too and are doing things like that, and that is going to make a difference and the comfort level to talk about these types of needs for women,
Mm-hmm.
and there are solutions. But there was one other thing I wanted to say, just as you're out, talking to people and trying on, I know even just getting somebody to measure us properly, right? Like, try doing that yourself. It's not going to be, exactly what you need. So there's a comfort level that comes in there too of just getting your measurements. And so I hope that women will take that time to invest in themselves. And like you said, it shouldn't take one time. I remember what I was going to say. I tried to take a pump apart and put it back together, and I had on gloves that were too big. It was the
Okay.
hardest thing. So you're like unscrewing the bolts or whatever to just use the wrench or just to touch the pieces with the wrong size
Right.
gloves slowed me down in my work, right? I can't imagine doing that every single day with the wrong size gloves. or
Right.
glasses or a hard hat with, I love the one that has the place for the ponytail because if you got long hair, you're gonna want to pull it back. Anyway,
Right. Yeah,
there's
that's
so much that is out there and that we continue to innovate for. And so I'm just so thankful that you and your team have created this platform where people can ask questions. They can, be part of the advocacy and join in the campaigns. I'm really excited to have y'all at Empowering Women in Industry in October. But before that, we'll be doing our fashion show in August. Thank you for your support in that. And then we're right here celebrating alongside with you with your launch in August um, at the safety event. And so,
yeah.
how can people get involved? What's the next step? What do you want people to do from here?
I think it would be easiest if people could go to our awesome website. And it is just the acronym. So it's awsam.org. And then that has all of the details about the organization, how to get involved, different levels of membership that people can join at so that you can, whatever one is the right level, uh, gives a little bit of a detail how to get involved. But any way that someone wants to help out, you can reach out through our website, and one of us founding members will definitely get back in touch with you and let you know how you can grow with us, and what we can do to make make it easier for women in the workforce to get what they need.
Absolutely love it. Thank you, Kelly. If
Thank you.
you just anytime you want to jump on the mic, I could talk to you for days. I'm just in awe. Thank you for helping the industry and these women and men learn what is available. So,
Absolutely.
okay, y'all, if you have not been inspired by this, I don't know who you are. Go ahead and share this episode. I know there is a woman in your life that wants to hear that there is an option for her. So, go ahead and share this episode, like, subscribe, do all that great stuff. And until next time, be empowering.